Let me know when we're live.
We are live.
All right, guys. Hey, how we doing? Emanuel Mara here. We're live with Mr. Biz, the man, the myth, the legend. Want to just give a little bit of a background. And by the way, we're doing a little bit of a happy hour here. So grab a drink. We'll be on for 30 minutes. I got my drink here. I got some rum chata. I'm going to pour a glass. I'm not going to drink responsibly, everyone. But Mr. Biz is a great friend of mine. He's helped me a lot within my own business. And he's also been, he's an author of 2 books now. Am I correct? 2 books?
2 so far, yeah.
2 books. He's working on more. He is a financial, he's a profit expert is what I would consider him. And he's going to talk a little bit more about this, but he's a guy that's a killer. He's a guy that's going to come into your business and basically help your business run more profitably. He's going to help you basically control your top line of revenue, but also your bottom line. And in his book, I actually have it here, Pathway to Profits. It talks a lot about how you as a business owner can run more efficiently, run more profitably. Thanks for being on the show. And let's give a little bit of a background of your story and how you kind of became Mr. Biz.
Yeah, well, so first of all, Emanuel, since this is Friday Happy, I was just going to say, we got to throw a social up. We got to do a virtual cheers here.
Cheers, man. Cheers. I'm pouring up right now. So.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I really do. As you mentioned, we've known each other for almost 2 years now, and met at GrowthCon and down in Miami, and we've stayed connected ever since then. I appreciate your friendship and your partnership. But yeah, I worked in the corporate world for let's just call it 20 or so years. So, you can see the gray hair, but I don't want to date myself too much, right?
No, you look young.
Have another drink, Emanuel. Okay, have another drink. No, but I worked there for 20 or so years. Decided I'd always had an entrepreneurial spirit, wanted to do some different things, and decided I could make a bigger impact and help more people in different. But it wasn't going to happen in the corporate world. Didn't even know what I do now as a fractional CFO was a thing, because I was so engrossed my entire career in the corporate world. So I had no idea what the heck this was. I had no idea. So talked to a mentor, had the what do you want to be when you grow up conversation, basically. And, he said, you need to be a CFO for, 6 or 8 businesses. And I said, well, how the heck do you do that? Being CFO for one business is pretty challenging as far as hours and things. And he said, no, you do it on a part-time basis. So simply put, the way I look at things and try to explain, because people go, what the heck is a fractional CFO or part-time CFO? Think of it this way. You're a business owner, and you're really good at what you do, at the widgets you produce, the products, the services, but maybe you don't have the business or financial experience, and you struggle with that side of the business somewhat. And some people do what I call faking the funk, right? They don't think they're struggling, but they could be doing a lot better. And so I can come into those businesses and help them a lot, not only run more profitably, but more efficiently. And I take a very holistic approach to things. And I don't mean that in like a Western medicine type thing, or I don't mean it in a, happy hour type thing. Cheers again, by the way.
Mr. Biz.
Yeah. I got my Mr. Biz Yeti there. But no, so I take a holistic approach. So I come in and say, what is going on in the business? What's working? What's not working? What's working? Let's accentuate it. What's not working? Let's figure out how we can make it better. And some of it sometimes comes down to technically I'm a CFO, but it's not just that. So I've got an extensive network. And so depending what is going on and we're trying to do, I'll bring in an outside partner. For example, someone like yourself, right? Someone wants to do YouTube advertising. I know this much about that. I'm going to bring in an expert like yourself to come in and really help them and make a huge impact instead of me making like a little impact, right? But helping people hire. And in my corporate days, I hired at least hundreds of people, maybe 1,000, but hundreds at least over my 20-year career. And over that time, I learned a lot on how to hire people, what to look for, things like that. And so I can help owners with that. Help them streamline the hiring process. Right now, right now with the pandemic, it's a little challenging, but you know, when unemployment was so low prior to the pandemic, everyone was struggling trying to find good people, you know? And so, you know, I've got some tricks of the trade on how to make that happen and how to, you know, expedite that process, find better people faster, be a employer of choice, right? So not only you find the good people, but they actually want to work there. It does you no good to find them if they go, oh, your company sucks, I don't want to work there. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and I do I want to mention, I am Mr. Biz and everything. So I do have my Biz uniform on, but it's Friday happy hour, Manuel. So I loosened up. I'm getting crazy.
Let's
get crazy. Next thing you know, I might even watch this. You don't even know what I'm going to do right here. Watch this right here.
Uh-oh. The hat.
Boom.
Here, the Let's Go Advertising hat, man. Hey, look, I want to promote you, man. You're always promoting me. I want to promote you. So I got my hat over here too, man.
This is it. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is Emanuel's company, Let's Go Advertising. He was nice enough to send me some swag. And I thought, man, this would be a great time. I got this giant logo above my head. The least I could do is throw on a Let's Go Advertising hat, right?
We're here to promote Mr. Biz today, man. We're promoting Mr. Biz for sure. So, hey, talk to us a little bit about, because I know you talked a little bit about your background, but I just want to rewind a second to talk about, like, not too much, but talk about your experience you were at JP Morgan Chase. You worked in New York. You know, I want to move into obviously what you do now, but I want them to have some background as far as like the experience that you had in the corporate financial world. I think that's really important.
Yeah, so I was very blessed and very grateful for the career I had there. So my undergrad's in accounting, got out, worked in accounting, parlayed that into a whole slew of different things, and was able to get a ton of experience in, you know, because that company is so large. I got a ton of experience without ever having to leave. So I'm super grateful for that. And so again, I you know, ran operations groups. Obviously, had started out in accounting. Was a finance manager, a financial analyst, then a senior analyst, then you know, a finance manager, and then became a CFO eventually. Was CFO for several different businesses, worked in the private equity world for a while, just got to do a ton of awesome stuff. And again, I didn't know it at the time, but that's really set me up to be able to do what I do now, because I have that experience, broad-based experience in all these different types of businesses, especially with a company like JP Morgan Chase. Is not just having the experience in the different roles, but JP Morgan Chase, because it's so dang big, you know, a lot of people think, depending on what part of the country you're in, you might think of JP Morgan Chase and think, oh, well, they're a retail bank, right? I can go cash my checks and checking account. And if you're in a different part of the country, you might think, well, they're an investment bank. And if you're in a different part of the country, or most of the country, matter of fact, you probably think they're a credit card company. It's just so huge, right? And so having the experience in all those different types, wholesale businesses, retail businesses, you know, retail and consumer, has been super helpful for me to be able to do what I do. And I didn't realize that I was developing, you know, those skills, because it's just part of the job. It's what you do. But now it's almost like I have the cheat code, right? Like I'm playing a video game and I got the freaking cheat code, because when I go into a business, I can't even explain it, Emanuel. It's like I walk in and like things just pop out to me left and right. Again, I'm super blessed. I'm very grateful for it. Things just pop out to me and I go, oh my gosh, why are we doing that? And most of the time what happens is the owner goes, well, now that you tell me that, I feel like an idiot. Like, why didn't I realize that, you know, all this time? But you know, that's part of the value that I bring, is to be able to help them with things like that. I'll tell you, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but you know, just as an example, you know, I've got clients this year, and some people might not want to hear this, but you know, tide rises all ships, as I like to say. But I got clients this year,
right,
during the freaking pandemic, that are on pace, and I would be shocked if they don't have a record-breaking year during the pandemic, right? Absolutely insane. And no, I don't. Amazon's not one of my clients. For those people that are pissed off that Jeff Bezos, and yes, I did cuss because this is Friday happy hour. For those people that are, yeah, there you go. There
we go. Drink up.
For those people the people that are pissed off about Bezos and Amazon, you know, exploding and all this other stuff. these clients I'm talking about, I don't have Amazon as a client. I wish I did, obviously, but
Right.
it's crazy. And it just goes to show you that a lot of people are taking the wrong mentality with this pandemic. And again, I might be getting ahead of you on these questions, so I apologize. But
No, go on. No
it's like to positioning yourselves the right way to prepare for something like this. Of course, I didn't know there was a pandemic coming, but I have been positioning my clients in a way that I knew an economic downturn was coming. So we were positioned and ready to pounce when the markets went down and the economy went down. Again, I had no idea, of course, there was a pandemic and that was going to cause all this craziness, but we were in a position. So like one of the clients, he's been in business. This is his 20th year in business. He is going to we are going to absolutely blow away his best year ever. By the way, his best year ever was last year.
Yep.
And he's blowing last year away. And the main reason why is we were positioned properly to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves during this downturn. And I don't mean that in a nefarious way. I don't mean like, cutthroat and all that stuff. And it's actually good. So get this one. This particular company, his two of his top 5 competitors in this market did not survive the pandemic because they were not positioned. And so it put us in a position to be able, because we had proper reserves, we were ready to go. So we've been able to purchase. They're going out of business, right? They're liquidating. So this is a service-based business. So trucks on the road, right? You got to have trucks on the road. So we were able to purchase additional trucks at not pennies on dollar, but that's at 35 cents on the dollar. So huge advantage there. So you could say, oh, that's kind of cutthroat and you're kind of being an asshole and all that stuff. Here's the thing. Here's why it's not. Those 2 competitors, all of their customers have to have someone to service them. That's where we can step in and help, not just to make more money and all that crap, but to be able to service those customers that need that. And even better, get this one, Emanuel, because we have all that additional volume now, we need what? More people, more resources. So now those 2 companies that are going out of business and they're going to let people go, we said, hey, wait a minute. You have people that are experienced. Come on over because we need you. Now we were able to save these people's jobs. They get to continue doing what they like to do, they love to do, and it helps us. It helps the customers. I mean, it's a win all around, especially in these challenging times that just has sucked the life out of so many people. And it's not. Again, a lot of people have such a narrow focus on this stuff. I mean, this is kicking everyone's ass across the globe. It's everywhere. I mean, a lot of people have this narrow focus on just the U.S. or whatever, but man, I got to tell you, I've got clients overseas, and it's like that there. And in some countries, Italy, for example, it's way worse in Italy than it is here. I mean, the restrictions and the impact that it's had, it's been just terrible. So, being able to position yourself for that is super, super, super important. And I'll tell you, cutting to the chase, what I tell people, like when I talk to a prospective customer or client, and I tell them, here, I might not be the cheapest resource you're going to find, but I'll tell you right now, you're going to get value out of it. And if you don't, you should fire me, because I would fire me. If I'm paying X for a service and I'm not getting the value out of it, a multiple value out of it. So when you pay me to be your CFO and help you run your business more profitably, more efficiently, by golly, you better get value out of it. And I'll go out of business if I don't provide value, right?
Well, this Mr. Biz is a guy too. I mean, just to summarize a little bit of his story too, he wasn't a guy that just, was a teller or a bank, even a branch manager at Chase. This was a guy who was literally in New York, working high up in Chase and the company, who already was getting paid, compensated very well. He had a great position, and he took a risk to go into his own business without really, he was in the corporate world for a little while. So to have a guy that's worked for the best of the best, I mean, JP Morgan Chase in the financial world is like, the Ferrari of cars, you know what I mean? So to have a guy in your corner like that as a business owner that knows the finances so well, which is probably the most crucial. It is the most crucial thing in any sort of business. That's a guy that it's not necessarily an expense. It's an investment to have a guy that's in your corner, that knows your finances, that's going to help you take advantage of certain opportunities. He's going to tell you, okay, yes, this is a time where you should use your capital to make a decision, or this is a time where you shouldn't use your capital to make a decision, to kind of help you go through that. Everybody needs a guy like Mr. Biz, especially if you're a plumber, roofer, contractor. You got in your business to grow the business. Really what you need is a guy in your corner that's going to help you run more profitably, help you take advantage of opportunities where you increase your top line, and then help you reduce the bottom line excess that you kind of have as well. So a guy like Mr. Biz pays for himself. I'm connected with him because he's a winner. He's, he's done things at the highest level with JP Morgan Chase. And he's a guy too that's honest. I mean, he's not one of these guys on the internet that's like, oh, hire me and I'm not going to do anything. He's an honest guy. He's great at what he does. And honestly, everybody should look at his content at least. He even tell you that. Look at his content before getting on the phone with him to make sure he's your guy,
No, well, first of all, I'm grateful for your kind words. It's you're far too kind, but I appreciate it very much. Absolutely, I tell everyone that all the time. I mean, one of the things I learned when I left the corporate world and started my own business was it's critically important for me to produce content, right? Yep. Who the heck is going to know who I am without consuming some content? So I would encourage everyone, go out and follow me on social media. And I don't mean that because, oh my gosh, I need to have a bunch of followers. It's not that. It's if you have any of these needs, even if you never hire me, it doesn't matter. I put out a ton of free stuff. Like obviously all my content on social media is all free. Go out to our YouTube channel. So go out to YouTube and search on Mr. Biz. We've got, I don't know how many now, over 100 videos. And most of the videos are 4 or 5 minutes long. Short, you can digest them pretty quick. You can pick up tips. Matter of fact, you can go on YouTube channel and say, hey, you know what? I'm having a problem with hiring. And you can search hiring and all of our hiring videos will pop up. So you can watch a couple of them, right? Get some tips, whatever, cash flow, budget, whatever it is, right, that you're having a problem with. There's things out there about motivation and things like that. So, yeah.
Or get the book. I gotta plug the book again because I wasn't looking away or anything. I was actually reading some chapters in here, and even the stuff like when you talk about you could be making more revenue but running more less profitably. Man, I've worked with a lot of companies and I see that so much. It's like they're making a lot of money, but they're not really profitable. And it doesn't matter if you are making $1 million a year, but your overhead is $950,000. You know what I mean? Like you're not. It's all about profitability in business, right? It's
all about that.
And I've seen that too many times where you get a company that has a lot of revenue, but they're not necessarily profiting much out of that. And that's why like a guy like you, somebody like, okay, what's going on? And really break that down. So talk a little more about.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to jazz this up a little bit because again, and this is Friday happy hour, right? I see you tipping a cup up. I'm going to tip mine up. So what I would tell you is a lot of companies measure ego-wise. A lot of owners, I should say they want to say that they're a fill in the blank X size company, and they measure that by revenue. And this is the PG-13 version because we're Friday happy hour, but I don't give a shit about that. That means absolutely freaking nothing because if you you could be a quote unquote $5 million company revenue wise. Yeah. But if your expenses are $6 million, what kind of company do you have? You're doing a lot of work. What volume does it take you to get to 5 million in revenue? And you're losing $1 million a year. What the hell kind of business is that? That's a bunch of crap. Like who wants to do that? And I don't want to cut you off, but I know we've got some, I can kind of see the thing here. We've got some people watching. Guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, this is sort of like no holds barred. It's Friday happy hour. If you have any questions whatsoever for me or Emanuel, definitely ask us some questions. There's a little bit of a delay before they pop up on the screen, but and we'll give you a shout out. We'll throw your question up, and Emanuel and I will address it. But and appreciate the people that are watching. By the way, I know it's Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Whatever. So appreciate you guys watching. But no, it's super, super important. I mean, and I tell people this is so one of the things I share on social media every single week is the Mr. Biz tip of the week. And one of the tips that I've had that I've used year after year. So I recycle some of the tips. I go through them in December with our social media director, and I go, you know what, these tips are kind of crappy or they're outdated or whatever. And so we ditch them and I replace them with new. This tip has been there from day one, and I can't imagine I'm ever going to get rid of it. And that is that unless you're in the food services industry, okay, which is the margins are super thin. Unless you're in that industry, if your net margin, and so without getting too much into like the accounting weeds where no one wants to go, right? Even I don't want to go there, but net margin before you guys gloss over and go, what the hell is he talking about now? It's Friday happy hour and he's talking about margins and all this bullshit, right? So before you go there, so net margin, very simply, it is your net income. Everyone knows what that is, right? At the end of the day, what's left, right, after all your expenses, it's divided by your total revenue. And that is, a lot of people measure stuff on gross margin. They go, my margins are 60%, and they're talking about gross margin. I don't give much of a care about gross margin because that can be manipulated. I care about, at the end of the day, with my clients and my owners, what ends up in their pocket at the end of the day. Right?
Yep.
Because that's going to impact them, their family, their ability to grow their business, et cetera. And so your net margin, again, net income divided by your revenue. And that tells you of every dollar you bring in the door, revenue-wise, sales-wise, how much of it, after everything, ends up in your pocket. So to me, that is the ultimate, right? You got to measure that, right? I want to know. And so anyway, going back to what I was saying is, unless you're in the food services industry, if your net margin is less than 10%, this is going to be a little Gary V in your face. Congratulations, you have a freaking hobby. You do not have a business. Because in the food services industry, it's a different thing because it's super, the margins are super thin, and running at an 8% net margin is actually pretty good in the food services industry, because of waste and food and all this other stuff, right? A whole bunch of factors. But other businesses, and this is what I alluded to earlier, is a lot of business owners, they're faking the funk because they're running at a net margin that might be, let's say it's 9%. And they think, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. And then it might be their type of, their type in the industry they're in or the niche they're in, they should be running at freaking 30%. 30%. Right. So they should have triple. They should end up at the end of the day, triple the money that's ending up in their freaking pockets. But they don't know that because they get, I don't want to say fat, dumb, and happy because they're not too fat because they're only making 9%, but they get to where they're comfortable and they're complacent and they go, 9%, it's okay. And I go, here's the thing. I can step in and I can help you I'm going to bridge the gap. And this is one of the things I do. I'm going to bridge the gap in this example between 9% and 30. I'm going to get you to 30. If I don't get you to 30, fire me. Point blank.
Mr. Biz, the sound kind of went out for a second. Are you still there?
Yeah. You were. I heard some noise on your end as well. I mean, I don't know. On my side, I heard it as well. Yeah, I'm still here. Again, guys, if you have questions or anything like that, fire them up. I'll tell you what. Let's give something away.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's give something away. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was saying I got an extra one of these. You sent me an extra one that I'm throwing in the raffle as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what everyone wants. We got a bunch of swag stuff. I mean, we've got at this point, I don't know if anyone who follows me on social media probably saw. We've got, this is crazy. And I don't want to run off camera to get it, but we've got baseball jerseys, we got football jerseys, we got all kind of crazy stuff. But here's another thing. And first of all, I'll tell you this much for sure. I just happen to have one here, Emanuel. Just like you.
Yep.
Anyone who wants a copy of this book, and again, it's a legit book, right? Emanuel's got it. And I'm not trying to plug the book here or whatever, but it's a couple hundred pages, talks about a lot of different things. Anyone who wants this book, I will send you a signed copy, absolutely 100% free of charge. Tell us, comment where you guys are listening from. Whoever's farthest away from Emanuel wins a free signed copy of the book, and I'll throw some other stuff in there too that we have.
Yeah, so I want to just say about real quick. I've built a lot of my business off of this book. To be quite honest, like I got it highlighted here. I even look at it here, like about upselling customers. That's a strategy I've used to become more profitable. I have customers that they'll do some advertising with me, but I also got good at text marketing. I did Facebook and YouTube advertising. So my accounts have became more profitable because of this book. I wouldn't have thought about that. You know what I mean? Like he talks about 65% of businesses of your current customers, or he says basically 65% of your current customers will convert if you upsell them, compared to like 5 to 20% of new, customers that you're trying to get. So this book has helped me run my business more profitably. I mean, margins wise, like, even here, based on your net revenue, you'd expand your business if you chose to spend marketing or advertising wisely. So it's like, if you become more profitable, you're going to have more money in your pocket. I think a lot of people think, oh, I need to plow money back into the business, but not if that money is not, if that business reinvesting isn't profitable, I think that's where a lot of people messed up. They say, oh, I need to plow all this money back in, but you got to find the things in your business that are profitable. Would you agree with that?
100%, 100%. And as a nod towards even you and your business, and let's go advertising, by the way, right here, people, let's go advertising.
Thank you, sir.
No, seriously, it's super important. And when I tell people is, I get asked this question all the time is, how much should I be spending on marketing?
Right.
And this is probably gonna be music to your ears, Emanuel, because what I have found is, there's some businesses here and there that maybe are a little bit outside the norm of this, but most businesses are underspending on their marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
So, and I'll just tell you real quick. And again, I see you guys out there. Comment, throw some questions at us. We'd love to answer some live questions and put us on the hot seat a little bit here. But so, marketing wise, advertising, that kind of stuff, is I recommend myself from all this experience I've had is that businesses should be spending between 2 and 8% of their gross revenue.
Right.
You can go up to 15%, but usually that 9 to 15% is a short-term thing. For example, you've got a new product coming out and you really want to hit the ground running. So you're just marketing the crap out of it, right? You open a new location if you're a brick and mortar. So you want to just really get this thing going. And so for a short-term basis, you might be in the 9 to 15%, but typically 2 to 8%. And what I find too often is that businesses are less than 2%.
Okay, we're good. We're good. The sound was cracking up a little bit for a second.
Yeah, I was cracking. Are you cracking nuts over there? What are you doing over there, Emanuel? You cracking open a new bottle of anyway, so 2 and 8%. Okay, good. So 2 and 8%, between 2 and 8% of your gross revenue. And I have some business owners. So the ones that are the big spenders, here's one of the things I do. And this is a simple thing you can do in your own business for any business owners that are watching is be this disciplined to make sure you don't overspend, right? I don't want you to get to the end of the year and go, wait a minute, I spent $100,000 on advertising and I have no idea the return I got on that, right? That's awful. That's bad business. That long-term, that will not work. So what I tell people is the ones that really need to be disciplined, and this is some people are going to go, oh my gosh, I feel like I just went to the freaking principal's office, right? It's Friday happy hour, Emanuel. Cheers, by the way, before I tell you this, on the edge of your seat.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Here, I'll pour up a little bit more, man. A little bit more. Not too crazy. Drink responsibly, folks. Drink responsibly. But
Yes. I'm not driving anywhere tonight. Is to be disciplined about it and make sure you don't overspend on advertising and marketing. Is you could literally do this. So figure out. So for example, if you're at the end of February, let's say, just throw February out there, end of February, you find that you look at your gross revenue on the last day of February or first day of March, and you say, we brought in $100,000 of revenue, and I want to be at 3%. Your budget, your marketing advertising budget for March is 3% of last month's revenue. So 100,000, 3%, you spend 3,000 in March.
Yep.
And so here's the thing that it helps drive people and makes it super powerful is if you find something that works from a marketing advertising perspective, like, and again, not being funny, but like working with someone like yourself, is in March and you go, oh my gosh, I got limited. I could love to spend more. Guess what? Bring in more revenue and you could spend more in April. Because on April 1st, we're going to look at your March revenue, your gross revenue, and we're going to say, oh, wait, this month you brought in 200,000. And if we stay at that 3%, now you spend $6,000 in April, right? So, but some people need to have that much discipline to make sure they don't overspend. And I should also mention, you have to measure. You have to measure it. And I'm sure this drives you nuts as well, Emanuel, because especially with what you do. So many business owners don't even measure their marketing spend. And I'll give you a quick example. And this is going to blow your mind / piss you off / make you laugh your face off. Okay. Again, this is the Friday business happy hour version, right? So I think you're cracking nuts over there, Emanuel.
I promise you I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, every once in a while it gets a little cracky. But anyway, I'm nowhere near my microphone. So anyway, it must be just a bandwidth thing. So get this. Again, you're gonna be like, what are you talking about, right? So I had a business owner I started working with. He'd been in business at the time for about I think 25 years, 24 years. So again, one of the things I look at, marketing. What are you spending your marketing and advertising dollars on? Okay. So his accountant sends me a report, right? Super detailed, like more detail than I even needed. But anyway, one of the things, again, keeping in mind, he'd been in business for 25 years. One of the things the guy was spending his money on, Yellow Pages.
I know. You told me this story. It's like,
oh my gosh. And because he never looked at it, never measured it, and he wasn't in a business, by the way. And I think at this point, Yellow Pages are 100% dead. But maybe even 10 years ago, you may have gotten some Yellow Pages business if your business dealt and your target avatar was someone who is, 60 plus. Maybe at that point, people 60 plus were still using the Yellow Pages 10, 15 years ago. But even now, I mean, my grandmother uses Google, right? My grandmother doesn't use Yellow Pages. So that's just an example. Is you have to make sure that you're watching what you're spending your money on and measuring it. And I'll just throw it out there because I don't know if our feed's working right here because I'm not seeing any questions coming in. I see we've got people watching, but I don't see the questions coming in. Guys, send in the questions, man. Let's make this happen. But so people say, well, wait a minute, how do I measure this? Right? How do I measure this particular type of advertising? Right? And it's a great question, but there's a couple of different ways you can do it. And one of the things I like, so two things I'll give you guys that to help you measure your different advertising things is number one, you could have a separate phone number. So a specific type of advertising you're doing, you can have, and you only put that phone number, that particular phone number on that one type of advertising. So when when someone calls in on that number, you know exactly the source where that came from, right? That's a little more expensive. Although in today's day and age, not as much with all the technology and everything. Another way to do it, which is much less expensive. I'm getting cracking on my end. You know what's a good time to, Emanuel, again, I'm going to Friday happy hour cheers for you. Appreciate you having me on, and I love it. But so the other thing you can do, it's much less expensive. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, sip it up, man.
Yeah. I'm almost running out. I'm going to have to call the waitress over and get a refill here. But another way to do that is it's much less expensive, is to have buy a specific domain name. Okay. Yeah, and I learned this from our road dog, Frank Kern.
Yep.
Frank Kern,
man. Shout out.
Genius, right? He's a genius. With a J, genius with a J. But anyway,
there we go.
You can buy a domain name that's something that's specific to your business, easy for folks to remember. So again, silly example, but let's say you do you're into videos and you're doing videos. Because I've done this before myself, and it's absolutely freaking working charm. And with some clients, is if you hire someone like Emanuel to help you with Facebook, YouTube advertising, you do videos, you do Facebook Live, etc. And let's say that you have an offer to give, and you make it, you buy the domain. Like for me, let's say I buy the domain MrBizProgram.com.
Right.
So I buy the domain, which costs me less than $20 a year, right? And on the video, or on the series of videos, maybe I say, hey, you know what? If you guys are interested in this, here's the program, et cetera, go to MrBizProgram.com and we'll take care of you. Now, I don't develop that website. You can do what's called a redirect. And again, this is above my pay grade on the technology side, but I've got my team that helps me. But you give that out, and what happens is when someone types in or goes to MrBizProgram.com, in this example, they get redirected to a page on my primary website. So I don't have to develop a new website, right? I just do a redirect to my website. I have to put a new page on my primary website, which drives people to my primary website as well. So there's a tangential benefit to it, but absolutely huge, right? And that way, and you can track with your Google SEO, et cetera. You know how many people came to your website, your primary website, from that Mr. Biz program, and it's example.com. So you know exactly how is that working. How many visitors to our website are we getting via that domain name? So super easy to do, but a way to measure it very, very specifically. So you can say, hey, you know what? I spent $500 last month on XYZ, whatever it is. How much did I get off of that? You're cracking nuts over there again. Just for that, I'm gonna have to
No, but what you're talking about, I know he cracked up a little bit, but I still could hear you. What he's talking about is spending your money more efficiently. Like if you spend your money more efficiently, you're not only going to increase your top line. Like I think people think that when they increase their top line, they need to just spend money, but it's all about spending money efficiently. Like it's just like hiring salespeople. If you hire a killer salesperson better than the other 4 salespeople combined, you really only needed to hire that one salesperson. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with advertising. If you're spending $20,000 in advertising, but $2,000 of the advertising is getting you the results, you only really needed to spend $2,000 or more on the advertising mechanism that was working. So it's all about like cutting waste. And I think that's why you want to get with a guy like Mr. Biz. He's going to evaluate like where the waste is, where everything's running smoothly, and see kind of where you should be spending and also where you shouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super important to be disciplined enough as I mentioned, of what you're spending on marketing and advertising, so you're not completely overspending. But then, as you were talking about, Emmanuel, with what you're spending, make sure that it is profitable, right? The silly example I gave earlier of, someone spending money in this day and age on freaking Yellow Pages, $3,000 a year on Yellow Pages. And it's not a ton of money, but I don't know about you, but I'll take an extra free $3,000. Or more importantly, I'll take that $3,000. I'm sure this is where your head is going, Emmanuel. I'll take that $3,000 you're wasting on the Yellow Pages, and I'll put it into something marketing and advertising that works and might return 3 to 1.
Yep.
So I'll take your 3,000 expense with no revenue associated with, so minus 3,000 at the end of the day, right? I'll take that and I'll spend 3,000 and get you 9,000 of revenue, positive 6,000. Now we've swung things $12,000. Again, the small example, not a ton of money. That's $1,000 a month for the owner, right?
And I think it's simple enough to where like people have to look at. I think you have a lot in society. People are be like, well, everybody's a winner, and it's just not the truth. There's people that win. There's people that lose. When it comes to money, there's money that you spend that wins, and there's money that you spend that doesn't make that as a loss. It's a profit and a loss. There's no in between. There's no sort of, it's either you're winning or you're losing. And that's the same thing with money. It's like, I've realized with money, it's either you're profiting or you're losing money. There's no real in between. And you have to analyze, like, what are my losses? What are my profits? You're going to have things that you take a chance on that might end up being a loss, but you've got to cut that fat out there immediately and then redirect it into the thing that's making you profit,
100%. And I will say, on behalf of people like yourself, Emanuel, is depending on the type of advertising or marketing you're doing, you do have to give it a little bit of runway, right?
Oh,
I'm sure you have this conversation all the time with your clients, right? Someone goes, "Oh, I just paid you XYZ," and it's 2 days later. Like, where's all the revenue? And you go, "Hold on, like, pump the brakes a little bit here, cowboy. Like, it doesn't happen that freaking fast, right?" So you got to, depending on the type of marketing, some marketing might work that quickly, right? And maybe not that quickly, but relatively fast. But there's other things that you need a little bit of runway with it, right? I don't know how effective anymore that, like, for example, radio advertising is. But, if you do radio advertising, you're probably not going to see an immediate impact from that. You got to let your brand get out into that market a little bit and things like that. So it's just an example, but guys, throw us a question or let us know. Let us know. Let us know where you're. I see we got a bunch of people watching. Let us know from where you're watching. Just type in your city name or your state or country. Who knows, right?
We're giving away some Mr. Biz gear to the person that's farthest away from me. I'm not going to tell you from like where I'm at until you put your thing in. I'll put it out later when we pick a winner. But I have a feeling I know who's going to win, but I don't want to say it just yet. So. But
here's the funny thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Emanuel, real quick. So today,
you're fine.
Anyone who follows me on social media probably saw this already, or maybe didn't see it yet. But so this is my fourth interview today, and we've been all over the place. It's one of the things I love to do is try to get the word out and let people know that what I do and how I can help them and take questions and be able to help them, directly and live. So I started my morning off at 7 a.m. with a Canadian morning show in Ottawa. And then the second one was in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Wow.
And then we went from there to Boise, Idaho. So think of the map and like the huge stretch, right? Up through North America. And then so Ottawa, and now we're talking to you, which is from undisclosed area so far. But as far as the farthest people that are from, a lot of guests or hosts will do that, I should say, and they'll say, "Hey, let us know where you're tuning in from. The farthest person away." So it's been interesting to see that with all these different locations that I've been fortunate enough to have, some interviews and things like that from where people are from. It's amazing. I mean, I think, again, a lot of people get that tunnel vision and think about their immediate area or maybe even their immediate state. And they don't think about the global impact that you could have, especially with something that goes out over social media.
Well, I have one or two clients that are in my state. I've got a client that's in Jamaica. One of my media buyers is in Canada. He's probably my best friend. I would say definitely my best friend that I grew up with. So, I mean, the internet has made it to where you don't necessarily need to be in the same city as the people that you're working with. And you even with a guy like Mr. Biz, you could hire a guy like Mr. Biz if you're in Jamaica or if you're in Canada or if you're in Chicago or if you're in LA, and you might get better results with a guy like Mr. Biz than someone that's local to your area. That's just how the internet is. You get the best of the best people that rise to the top,
Yeah, honestly, real quick on that, I was just thinking when you were saying that, I only have literally one client that is local to me here right now. I have one. Literally, I have one client right now who's local to me right here. All my other clients are spread out everywhere.
Isn't that crazy though?
Again, even in Europe, I got clients in Europe as well. And I mean, again, we've got the internet, we've got everything, right? You can reach people in all hours of the day. It's no need to limit yourself. Find, like you said, find the best of the best, regardless of where their geographic location is.
Hire the best of the best people. Don't just sell in a local market. Don't, expand your horizons. And even a guy like, if you connect with a guy like me or Mr. Biz, we'll try to bring you into the people that we know. I mean, you build a relationship, even that's what we're working on a lot, is how we can help each other. Mr. Biz is a guy that cares about you. He wants you to win. It's not just about, if you're a client, he only helps you. He helps everybody in any sort of way he can, whether it's a book, whether it's his content, whether it's just a relationship. Mr. Biz is in it to help you win and grow your business.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here's the thing. It is absolutely heartbreaking for me right now, especially with the pandemic, to see so many businesses not making it through the pandemic. And I'm not necessarily talking about the huge businesses too, right? But there's so many businesses that aren't making it through because they either weren't prepared or they didn't know how to pivot. Shout out to Jason Alt. That's his favorite word, by the way. Pivot. The Ross on Friends. Emanuel, you might be too young to remember that, right?
Pivot. I remember. Reruns.
There you go. Pivot. I mean, freaking hilarious, right? But super, super important to be able to do that. And there's no need for businesses to be failing right now. I shouldn't say there's no need. Really, it breaks my heart because here's the other tangential piece of that is that so many, especially small businesses, some medium, but a lot of small businesses are very family focused, right? And so let's say, John is the owner and John probably hires other family members, right, to work in the business, at least a couple. So if that business fails, not only the other employees, but think about the impact on the family. So now John, who is a leader of the family that has a business, now he's, in trouble potentially. And now the people he employed in his family now don't have a job. I mean, being able to make an impact and help those people is, for me at least, that's where it's at, man. Like that's freaking where it's at. To make that impact. I had a guy tell me, Emanuel, I can't remember, and all the times we've talked about, I told you this anecdote, but I had a guy tell me that I not only helped save his business, but I helped save his marriage.
Wow.
It's like,
wow.
Are you kidding me? Like, again, not something I ever expected, but his business was failing and he was doing what most people do. He was working more and more and more to try to make it work, but he was running in quicksand, right? And his pricing was off, which was the main thing. He had a silent business killer, and he had products and services he was providing. His Google rating, he had hundreds of Google ratings, reviews, I should say. And his Google rating was like a 4.8 plus out of 5. And so he's getting every bid that he submits, right? He's got more business that he knows what to do with, but his pricing sucked ass. Friday happy hour version, right? But it was way off. And so it was killing his business. And so again, like most people would do, you work harder. This isn't working. So you know what? I'm going to work harder. I'll work more hours. I'll make it work. And so he worked harder and harder and harder and harder. He had 3 kids. Yeah. He married, obviously, and his wife had a full-time job, and she's trying to manage the household while he's working his butt off trying to make his business work. And it got to the point where, unbeknownst to me, before he hired me, she said, "You know what? This doesn't work anymore. Like, you need to go find a job." And I tell you, Emanuel, this is the funny part. So this is a contractor, a remodeling company, right? This dude is like old school remodeling construction guy, and especially his personality. I cannot imagine him ever working for anyone, right? Of course, he works for his customers, but actually having a boss per se, I can't even imagine it. And it was all about his pricing. Yeah. A silent business killer. He's doing jobs and he's losing money on almost every job that he does because his pricing was off. And again, that's why I call it the silent business killer. He didn't realize he was losing money. Of course, he wouldn't purposely do that, right? And so he literally, again, picture this old school big dude. He's 6'7", 6'8". Tells me he wants to meet me at a Panera, right? Did I tell you this story before?
Yeah, you did. You did tell me, but it's a good story though.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So I go meet with him. I'll try to shorten it up a little bit, but we go to Panera Bread, and because that was where it was closest to him, and we sit down at a little two tabletop thing, 2-person tabletop, and he leans over to me again. Old, grimy, not old, but a grimy dude, old school, right? And he leans across and gets uncomfortably close to me and says, "I want to kiss you right now." So I'm like,
Whoa.
I said, "That's out of your price range. It's out of your price range. We're not going to do that." So, but no, the whole thing was he wanted to tell me in person about the impact that it had on his family and his marriage. And I'm not a very emotional person, but I mean that hit me right in the feels. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I got home, and Mrs. Biz, who's a nurse, right? Very feely person, which is great for her profession. I get home and I tell her the story. She has no idea who this guy is, right? Never met him, no idea, no connection with him whatsoever. We're standing in the kitchen in our house, and she starts crying because she recognized the impact that had on not only him, but his wife and his kids and that entire family. And again, like I said, it's just that kind of stuff. You can't value that as someone who provides that service. I know you've got some clients that have been super successful, and I'm sure you feel the same way. And I'm sure you might not even know it, but you've had that impact on your clients as well with the results that you produce for them, right? And they might not tell you that. But this guy was like, I mean, and I know it's the Friday business happy hour version, but I won't drop the F-bombs. But I mean, this guy, every third word out of his mouth, the F-bomb, which I'm okay with, by the way. I'll spare everyone else, but he's super old school and just, F this, F that, whatever. And so to hear him really break it down like that, especially a personality like that, I mean, gosh, it makes it all worth it, right? It makes it all worth it.
Yeah. Well, and we're all in business. At the end of the day, like, it's not necessarily about the money as far as a tangible, but like we need money to do what we want to do. We all need money to provide for our families. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about running more profitable, and like what you're talking about. It's really about how to get more money to give your family the life that they deserve. And if you're single, It's about to give yourself the life you deserve and the people around you the life you deserve. We're not talking about business we're not in charity here. You know what I mean? You need money to be able to survive. That's just it at the end of the day. And so when you get that feeling of, oh wow, I helped this guy save / make more money, or for me, I help the business, grow their top line, I'm helping them create a better life for their family. It's not just about just business. It's about more than that. It's about the lifestyle that they're able to have because they grow their business, and that's the same thing that you do on your end.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many, there's too many people, in my opinion, at least in what I do. And I would also say in what you do, honestly, Emanuel, and you're not definitely one of those people, but they're freaking snake oil salesmen, right?
Oh, yeah.
They promise
Yep.
like some crazy absolute Friday happy hour version bullshit that they can't deliver. Yep. And, they take someone hook, line, and sinker, especially in what you do. Like you get someone, honestly, it actually applies to both of us. I mean, you get someone who has a slick sales pitch, right? Yep. And they get someone hook, line, and sinker. And it's, 3-4 months before that person realizes, oh my gosh, I got taken. This is BS. I haven't gotten crap out of this. This guy or girl hasn't helped my business. All they've done is collect a paycheck from me. By the way, when's the last time I saw him? I sent him an email or her email, and I haven't heard from him in 3 days. Like, that's unacceptable, man. Unacceptable.
Hype, man. A lot of it's all hype. And that's why you gotta, when you work with it's a shame for people that do work with someone like that, because they don't get to work with someone like you. You know what I mean? I don't get to work with an honest guy like you because they have those reservations. But I would say, before you even get on the phone with Mr. Biz, vet him, because Mr. Biz is a guy that the more you vet, the more you're going to be like, I want to work with that guy. I'd say that with 100%, and that's the thing with your business. I know we're kind of wrapping up here. I jump on because I'm doing 6, but with the last couple minutes, let's tag your website. Let's tag your website. Let's tag, where can they follow you at? Is it Mr. Biz Solutions?
Yeah, I mean, the primary website is MrBizSolutions.com, but on social media, as I mentioned earlier, just go out and look for Mr. Biz. You'll find me. Whoops, I think we lost Emanuel. Oh crap. Yeah, he dropped off. Hopefully he will rejoin. But yeah, guys, if you want to follow or see some of the content, the primary way to see content and not just memes or the Mr. Biz tip of the week or whatever is the YouTube channel. Go out to YouTube and search for Mr. Biz. You'll find me. But we're on. See, my social media director will kill me if I don't get this right. We're on YouTube. We're on obviously Facebook. We have Mr. Biz Solutions. We have Mr. Biz. We have Instagram, Mr. Biz Solutions. We have Twitter, Mr. Biz Tweets. But really, as far as content and the meat, the best place to go, what I would say if I were you, is I would go out to Instagram. I was almost going to say Instagram, is YouTube. Go out to YouTube, check it out. Again, videos, you get a feel for me, if you haven't already during the show, what I'm like, how I can help. A lot of different videos, like I said, over 100 videos. Search for what's most pertinent to you and what you need help in. And I am trying a little bit stall, not going to lie, because we lost Emanuel, our host. And I need to check my phone here and make sure Emanuel's okay. Yeah. Not seeing him. Let me see. See if he's going to be able to rejoin us. I know we're almost at an hour here, so I don't want to make this too long, obviously. I don't want to be respectful of people's time. But guys, again, we mentioned this earlier, and those of you might not have been on before, but and maybe it's just our app is not working. We've had a ton. Oh, there's the man, the myth, the legend. Let me pop him back on here. Hold on. Let me add you to the stream here, Chief.
Hey, Mr. Biz, can you hear me?
Yeah. We lost you, man.
Hey, man, I wasn't even paying attention to having all these drinks, and I forgot my phone was dying.
I love it.
So,
well, I was just telling people where to reach me and all that stuff, and I was trying to, frankly, stall a little bit. I'm like, we lost our host. It's a little awkward. Let me try to stall a little bit until we get our host back.
got me back on here. My apologies about that. I didn't even notice my phone was really dying. But no, I wanted to just wrap up with, getting back on. Mr. Biz is a guy, you at least just follow him. I mean, don't like we talked about, like, you don't have to make a decision about working with him, but I would say this is your guy when it comes to financials. I get a lot of my advice from him about growing my business. And just follow him on social media. He tagged the links. Get his book, Pathway to Profits. And then what's the other one for them to get on?
The first book is called Cash Flow, How to Be a Cash Flow Pro. So those people who are dealing, struggling with their cash flow, which is a lot of businesses. That's a quick book. It's I think the first book's about 70 or so pages. Quick read, very actionable steps you can take. There's more than 50 cash flow tips in that book. So I would be shocked if you got that book. It's available on Amazon or, wherever you can buy books. It's all over the place, but, both of them have been, bestsellers. So they're all over the place. You can go to Barnes & Noble, Walmart, like Walmart.com, all that stuff. They're all over the place. But again, the Cash Flow Pro book is 50 plus cash flow tips. I would be shocked if you did not find something in there. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you this. If you buy How to Be a Cash Flow Pro and there's not at least a couple things in there that you go, oh my gosh, this is like awesome and I can implement this, let me know. Send me a message. I'll refund your money. Seriously, like
I'll give you another refund on top of the refund that you give them, because I built my business around it, and it's not about, this isn't hype. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't hype. I mean, I really have built my business around some of your strategies.
Well, I appreciate that, and seriously, man, before we end here, I gotta say, I didn't mention this too much because I want to get into it too much and make it sound like being all sappy and everything. But this dude came up to me at GrowthCon, as I mentioned at the outset, in Miami. I think I was going to get something to eat. I don't even remember what the heck it was, but I met him in the Causeway at Marlins Park in Miami, and never saw the guy, no connection to him whatsoever. We started communicating, talking or whatever. Next thing you know, here we are. It's almost 2 years later, and we stayed in contact all the way. This guy, it has been super, it made me in a weird way, like kind of proud to watch your growth and to watch you as you built your business. And I'm not just saying that because you had me on your show, which I greatly appreciate. But seriously, I wouldn't be here. Like, here's the thing, man. I'm not saying this to be braggadocious or anything, but I get asked to be on a lot of shows and I do a lot of interviews and all that stuff. If I research the show or our team researches the show, and if it's some shit show, again, Friday happy hour version, if it's a shit show or I don't like the host or, I don't stand for what they stand for, and not that I'm being, aristocratic or, whatever, elitist or anything like that. It's just, I want to make sure that if I'm going to appear somewhere and I'm going to be on a show or be associated with someone that's, I align with their thought process and I align with them. And I have been super impressed and inspired by, you, Emanuel, like what you've done since I've known you. Like, even out in GrowthCon earlier this year in Vegas, like, you're a hustler, man. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. Like, this guy kicks ass. Like, here's the thing. If you hire Emanuel and he, like, let's say, for example, in the first week or two, things are going south. Here's what I'll tell you. He will freaking figure it out. He will figure it out. He'll go, you know what? That's right. This strategy didn't work. Here's what I got. I got plan B for you, and this is going to work. That's the kind of guy he is. Like, he figures shit out. Again, Friday happy hour version. He figures shit out, and I admire that a lot. I know there's a big age gap between us. Whatever, we don't need to talk about that. But I really admire. I wish that when I was your age, Emanuel, and I'm not just saying this, I'm not just patronizing you. I wish when I was your age that I had the same entrepreneur drive. I had the drive, but it was not focused towards entrepreneurial stuff. And so I admire you a great deal. And I know I've told you this, offline and things like that, but you're kicking ass. You're going to be super successful. And I'll tell you, anyone who needs any type of Facebook, YouTube advertising, you got to reach out to this guy. Again, just have a conversation with him because he's a real deal. He knows how to make it happen, man.
Well, same thing with you, man. Like with anything financially related to your business, Mr. Biz is your guy. And Mr. Biz, whether it's just reading his books or whether it's joining his program or even him being your CFO, you don't want to hire anyone else besides Mr. Biz. So thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for being on, man. And we're going to be doing more work again, man. I really believe that.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, and thank you again, Emanuel. I really am grateful for you having me on here to talk with folks, etc. But the last thing I'll mention is anyone who's watching this, whether you're watching it live or you watch it, later, if you guys enjoyed this and you enjoyed some of our banter back and forth and things like that, let us know in the comments or message us, whatever, because if this takes off in the way that's helpful for people, we'll do this more regularly. We'll do it on a monthly basis or something like that. And maybe we'll make we'll do some more fun things about it, or maybe we'll have some keywords that especially in happy hour that we take a drink for, or we'll have some segments that are more humorous and things like that. We're not just talking about business stuff and whatever. So let us know in the comments or whatnot if this was enjoyable for you. You got some value out of it, and anything. If you say, you know what, again, Friday happy hour version. If you say, you know what, guys, this sucked ass. It didn't help me at all, and you guys are not that funny, and it wasn't entertaining at all. That's cool too. Like, at least we know the feedback, and we'll figure it out. And we won't move forward with that plan. But yeah, let us know.
Thank you guys so much, Mr. Biz. Thank you again. I'm going to jump off here, but I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, brother. You have a great rest of your day and a fantastic weekend, brother.
You too, brother. Thank you so much.
Yep. We'll see you guys.